The No Fade channel checking in, and today we are going to turn this piece of trash into treasure. I found this Craftsman walk-behind lawnmower on the side of the road, believe it or not. Someone had left it out for trash. We are going to clean it up, give it some TLC, give it a complete tune-up, and see how it performs. But first and foremost, we need to clean up the years of gunk that have clearly been neglected and left on it. Here we go. It is clear this Craftsman lawnmower has never ever been maintained or cleaned. There was just so much gunk and dirt here, but also I even had to remove this cowl and cleaned out just the globs of it underneath the lawnmower. For nothing else, it wasn't helping the lawnmower's performance to have all that dirt caked up in there. So that's done. Here is everything we are going to need in order to tune up our lawnmower. First and foremost, probably the single best thing you can do for your lawnmower is to replace the spark plug. Costs anywhere between $1.50 and $8. I'll put an Amazon link below to spark plugs in general. Currently, the machine we have right now has an RJ19HX. The HX just stands for actually the filament that's in there. We are going to be replacing it with an RJ19LM that is compatible. Here's another list of other compatible spark plugs. There's even more than this. Many spark plugs, especially for the lawn tractors, are compatible with one another, and there's not much difference in terms of the actual spark plug themselves. Most common people will not even notice the difference. The HX is supposed to be quicker and easier to start, but we're going to go with the LM because it is cheaper and I have it on hand. In order to remove the spark plug, we are going to need this specific socket. It does not typically come with a socket set, so you are going to have to go out and buy it if you don't already have it. And of course, we are going to need your typical socket set. We are going to need an oil pan in order to actually collect the old oil. We are going to need, of course, new oil. I have a funnel just to make pouring the new oil a little bit easier. Also, we are going to be needing an air filter. When doing a tune-up on a lawnmower, I prefer to actually have the gas completely empty. Reason being is when we actually tip this over to take the oil out, we don't want the gas to leak everywhere, and it may. Also, I don't know the age of this gasoline, and I want to make sure I'm putting in fresh gas in order to make sure that it's going to be running at peak performance. Again, that old gas is just so detrimental to the actual running of the engine. So we're going to just pour this gas out and collect it. All right, just the right size, lucky me. We're not going to put any new gas in there until the very last step. Again, we don't want it to be tipping over or pouring over when we're doing our other work. Now that the gas is out, I'm going to drain the actual engine of oil. And we want to collect this oil and repurpose it by recycling it. And in your AutoZone, a lot of your automotive dealership places will actually collect it. They tend not to like to, but if you look at their website, they will collect it, and it can be, at the very least, recycled. The gasoline is out. The oil has been drained. Those won't be replaced until the very end, right before we start this bad boy back up. But right now it is time for the spark plug. On this Briggs Stratton engine, it is located here in the front. As you can see where my finger is, you simply remove this cap like so. And again, you can see the dust and the buildup. You can see that it hasn't been replaced at all since it's been probably purchased, which is why the person thought it was bad enough to leave it on the street. More than not, the stuff when you see lawnmowers on the street like this, they're such simple engines. All they need is some TLC, a few dollars in parts, and they are good to go. So we're going to use our spark plug socket, and we're going to put it on like so, and we are going to remove it. I would just say when removing something this old, just to be cautious, you want to go slow and steady. You don't want to just kind of use too much force because it might be pretty brittle. Yeah, that came out real easy. All right, so hopefully you can, I'm going to get this up close so you can actually see it here. At least get an idea of how horrible that is. You can see that end is just rusted and corroded, and you can see the tip is just very much blackened. Obviously, it was desperately in need to be changed a few years ago, if not even sooner than that. So here is the replacement. You can see nice and clean, nice and new. It is not an exact replacement, but it is compatible. Definitely check your owner's manual, check online for compatibility. With lawnmowers, most of the spark plugs are compatible or interchangeable, but just double check to make sure. But again, I don't necessarily know if there's a huge performance bonus on these machines if you go with the more expensive ones versus the cheap ones. This ends up being one of the cheaper ones. I think it came in at like $2 or $1.50. And again, if you buy them in bulk, if you're doing a lot of these per chance, you can even save more than that. So again, we're going to use anti-seize on the threads here. We're only going to use a little bit. A little bit goes a long, long way. Just going to put it in nice and easy. Make sure it catches and hand tighten it. Okay, you want to hand tighten it all the way till it's snug. Then you're going to put your wrench on it and tighten it down just a little bit. A lot of people will over tighten these. They think they get super aggressive with it. Put the boot back on, clip it back into place, and you are all set with your spark plug. This blade is in absolutely horrible condition, as you can see here and here. It really needs to be replaced. For the sake of this video and for the fact that this is going to be a backup lawnmower for me, I'm going to do my best to basically even this off and grind it out in order to make it sharper and make it perform better. I've got my heavy duty grinding wheel here, and then I've got a smaller Dremel here to kind of hopefully feather it off. Moms, dads, guys, girls, wear eye protection. Even when you don't think you need it, even when you're doing something that doesn't require eye protection out in the yard or on a vehicle or any type of maintenance, put the eye protection on. You're going to be glad you did. Hopefully you can see this in the video that this side that I've actually done is a lot more even and clean, and it looks a lot sharper than this rusted out side over here. Of course, I am going to do this side and then balance it to make sure it fits and is balanced as much as possible. As you can see, this side is already heavier. Now that we've sharpened both sides of the blade and did the best job that we could given the conditions, it's time to put the blade back on. One thing to note, if your blade doesn't say grass side versus the engine side, make sure before you take off the blade to get a black Sharpie and just mark it, give it an X so you know which side is supposed to face the grass. Now that the blade is back on, we're actually going to replace the air filter. It's right here along the side of the lawnmower. This is actually the spot that it's in for most lawnmowers of this type. And you just simply unscrew it, back it out, and take out the old one. Now, this old one is absolutely, positively filthy. It must have about 2 pounds of dirt in here. Sometimes you can get away with simply vacuuming them out. If it's only been a year or two and they're not that dirty or damp, you can simply just vacuum them out and put them right back and kind of a poor man's version of a cleanup. But in this case, not something we would ever want to replace, clean up and try to put back in. So we're going to use SA30, we're going to pour it in and then measure. One of the things you are going to need is a rag because we don't know exactly how much to put in. Again, less is more. You don't want to overfill the oil. Certainly fill it up, check it against the dipstick. And remember, every time you take it out, you want to clean off that dipstick. But the oil should be between these two markers once it is at the appropriate amount. Here's the final moment of truth if we see how this thing runs. Hey, if you came this far in the video, give it a like, hit that subscribe button. If you have any questions regarding engine tune-up, drop them in the comments below. Remember, I found this on the side of the road, caked in dirt and never been touched. Let's see how it runs. This thing started up in one pull. I am super excited. Clearly, I've taken this trash, turned it into a treasure. The only thing I've got left is to smack a No Fade 24/7 sticker on front and give it a couple runs on the grass to see how it cuts. Again, if you've come this far in the video, you know what to do. Give it a like, hit that subscribe button, as usual. Thanks for watching, and don't save anything for the trip back. I am dedicated to helping you dads be great parents to your children and still accomplish your own personal goals. I post tips and tricks to save you dads time, energy, and money. 3 things that are in short supply for every dad out there.